All right, the spring planting season is here and many people will be out in the yard working on all kinds of projects. Before you start digging, there are 3 numbers to know, and that's 811. Call before you dig, so don't hit any gas lines, water pipes, or anything else that could be below the ground. April is Safe Digging Month, and today Louis Panzier, Executive Director of North Carolina 811, is here, and he's going to be breaking down all the things that you need to know about calling before you dig. Now, we want to make sure that you get your questions answered by him. So you want to get to text the expert your question. The number is 336-379-5775. You text that question, we'll get it to him, and he answers your question on the spot. All right, first and foremost, it's 811. That is just the number to call. Super easy to do that. Does it matter how deep we're digging to call 811?
Absolutely not. And that's a really good question, because a lot of times people think I'm only going shallow. I'm only putting in maybe a mailbox post or something that I'm not going very deep. And surely the utilities are deeper than I'm going to dig. But the truth is that you never know exactly what could have changed the shape of the contour of the ground, whether it was erosion or some previous, work that had been done. So you never want to assume depth. Always call, no matter what. We always say 811 every dig, every time.
Every dig, every time. Okay, so if you are having work done at your home, I was just talking to you about maybe getting an invisible fence for my dog. Do I need to call myself 811, or how does that work?
I mean, if you're having work contracted, whether it's a fence or landscaping or anything where you're bringing in another person to do that excavation, you should make sure that they've contacted 811. The idea is that whoever's actually disturbing the earth, putting shovels or equipment into the ground, you really want them to have their name on that locate request. That way, if anything were to go wrong, if they were to hit anything, it doesn't have your name on it. And the contractors understand this is a responsibility under the law, that they have to have this, 811 placed, and they have to wait the time and get those marks.
Okay, and as a consumer, I feel like I do have some responsibility here. I should probably be checking up to make sure that they have called for 811 to do that before they do any kind of work.
Absolutely. And we actually have an app that's available that's free through nc811.org. And it has a function on it that's called Near Ticket. And it will tell you within 1,500 feet if there's a live ticket in that area. So if you want to follow up with your contractor just to assure that they've done it, you can use that tool, and it'll show you that there is an active ticket for that work.
Okay. So let's talk about this, because a lot of people at home are like, I've dug before and I didn't have any damage, so maybe they just got lucky. So let's talk about this. How much damage occurs each year in North Carolina because people don't call the 811?
So the no-call damages in North Carolina it runs around 10% of probably, let's say 20 to 25,000 of damages in the state that we know of. So you can extrapolate that down to say, 5,000, 6,000 damages maybe around people not knowing or failing to contact us. And it's so simple and it's free. It's one of those things that you don't want to be that person that, causes an outage of your neighbor's internet or your internet, or God forbid you hit a gas line or an electric line and cause injury to yourself. So yes, there's a tremendous amount of activity going on right now, excavation. Obviously, homeowners now are active, getting those spring plantings in. We just want to make sure everybody understands this process is free to them, and it does help to protect them and their facilities.
All right, well, let's so this is what we're looking at here, is them actually doing the markings for the different lines. And are there different colors for different lines?
There are. So there's a standard color code. The red would mean electric power is under there. Yellow is for gas. Orange is for telecommunications. There's a lot of fiber and a lot of telecommunications out there. Blue is for water, and green is for sewer. If you see pink, that's a survey marker. So those, and if you're going to want to pre-mark an area, you always want to use white paint. White is the color that's reserved for proposed excavation.
Oh, okay. So you can kind of mark where you think you're going to put a flower bed or whatever, that kind of thing. And then when
Yes.
they do that. Now, when you call 811, what is the process? Let's go through like what's the timeline? What kind of information do you need to tell them?
Sure. So what happens is you have to give 3 full working days prior to your excavation minimum in order to allow the utilities to come out and mark. So you're going to reach out to 811. You're going to tell us where you're going to dig, what type of work you're doing, give us very precise information about the location. Again, white lining if you can to really even further clarify exactly where you're going to dig. Then we're going to let you know who we're going to notify on your behalf. It runs around 5 to 1. So there may be 5 utilities who will be responding back individually to that request. You wait those 3 full business days. Then you check positive response, which is provided by those utilities to say either they have a conflict and they're marked it, or there's no conflict and you're safe to dig. You want to check and verify that on the ground and then dig with care. So those are basically the steps. Again, you want to make sure to not include weekends or holidays. Give 3 full working days between yourself and that excavation when you make that notification.